Hello, Internet. My name is Kira. That is my TBR shelf behind me, and this is my very first ARC review of 2026. ARC stands for Advanced Reader Copy, and it's a book publishers will send out to get some feedback on a book before it's actually published. So, in this video, we're going to be talking about Agnes, We're Not Murderers by Jessica Alexander. Without further ado, let's read the description. Lesbian vixens from another dead world thread through moon-drenched cornfields and opulent drawing rooms in this literary horror remix of iconic Gothic sagas. So you can see why I was intrigued and requested this immediately. Agnes is wasting away. In a bed of velvet and silk, she dreams of death and Mary. Mary, a wraith with blood-stained gown and mouth, drips mystery and menace. She materializes beside a lake, beneath a pear tree, outside the window. She turns servants feral and plunges the manor into anarchy. Since her arrival, nothing is right. The maids snarl. The nights grow strange. Agnes swoons. Her brother, Arthur, calls it a sickness, a curse. He stalks the halls with scissors in his fist. He wants purity and order. He'll strike out the unintelligible. He is not the only one. Others have begun to stir. Jilted lovers, disgraced doctors, moralists with sharpened knives. The disorder is spreading. It's riotous, contagious. They'll purify the world in flame. Okay, you gotta give me a rating on how good that reading was, because I feel like it was pretty good. Okay, my TLDR rating for this book is 3 out of 5 stars. It was good, but if you're looking for something that you can just shut your brain off and read, or like relax and not have to think too hard, this is not the book for you. If you love putting together puzzles and not really knowing what's going on most of the time, then you'll probably really enjoy this. And that's not me being shady, it is in its essence a gothic horror. And I have an English degree. I have read my fair share of gothic horrors, and most of the time in them, I feel like I had no idea what's going on. And it felt very true to form. And this is where I'll throw in my disclaimer that all these opinions are my own. They are not definitive. If you have a different opinion, that's great. That's what's meant to happen when different people read a book. So if you want to share it, just please do it nicely. So this book starts out with a guy named Martin who is rushing to find Thomas to tell him that Mary is one of them. And then it just evolves from there. There's a lot of point of view switches, which is another, I guess, complaint that I have, that the point of view switches weren't very clearly marked. So half the time I would be a couple pages into a chapter and then I would figure out who I was reading and then I'd have to go start over so I could actually understand. And in true gothic horror style, the timeline is very wibbly wobbly, and that is intentional. They talk about it later on in the book how time is moving slowly or not moving. At first, I thought the book was about vampires, and then later on, they start talking about a curse. And I think it's all just a metaphor for lesbianism, I think. But my favorite thing about this book is it made me laugh out loud a couple times, and it gave me like Lemony Snicket series of unfortunate event vibes where all these serious things are happening. You know, people are falling out of windows, people are being and it's just given in such a like funny way where I don't know, it just makes you laugh. And I really love when a book uses footnotes to tell the story. So I was super excited when I saw that this book uses footnotes, but the footnotes were simultaneously the best and worst thing about the book. There are 228 pages in the book and 211 footnotes. When I first started reading, I thought it was a choose your own adventure book because at the bottom, the footnotes were like, want to learn more about Mary? Turn to page 128. Or what's the fog? Turn to page 72. And I've just made those up, but something like that. And I was like, wait, am I supposed to be going to these pages? And then I would. And it was like, I have no idea what I'm looking at. So the beginning of the book was a little overwhelming because there were just so many footnotes. But later on in the book, when I was putting the story together, they were extremely helpful. because they would be like, don't remember who this is? Turn to this page. So then I could go back and reread to see, oh, this is Thomas or this is Martin or whatever, you know? So that was nice. There were also a lot of them that were really funny, but a lot of times they were just stories from the author's life. I'm sure that there's something the author was attempting to do, but here's an example of one that just really confused me. A lot of pages look like this, where it's just mostly footnote. You can pause if you want to read that. I'm not going to read it. And it has nothing to do with the actual story. And it really took me out of the story. And half the time I would have to stop reading the footnote and just keep reading the actual book. It really lost me sometimes. I do think that I want to go back and read it again, but I would highly recommend a physical copy instead of an ebook, because being able to flip between the pages with the footnotes would be super helpful. And I really want to go through and annotate it. So if you're going to pick up this book, I highly recommend you have like a notebook, maybe some sticky notes, get a physical copy once it comes out, and just annotate the heck out of it. I'll give you a general no spoiler gist. A doctor was trying to bring his dad back to life, and he made an elixir that was then given to his mistress's daughter, and it turned her into a snarling creature, maybe vampire, I think vampire, and then it like infected the whole town. So that's what I'm going with. So I think overall how I feel about the book really depends on the lens that I view it through. It really sent me back to being in college and having to analyze all these literary works and then write papers about them or, react to them in some way. And it really made me want to like get out my notebook and take a bunch of notes and be ready for the essay or the quiz. But I went into it thinking it was going to be a really casual read, and it definitely wasn't that. It took a lot of my brain power. Maybe that's just me. But once I kind of shifted my brain into literary analysis mode, I guess, I enjoyed it a lot. Agnes We're Not Murderers comes out on June 16th of this year, 2026. So I need you guys to go pick it up and let me know if you can get all those puzzle pieces together, and then let me know how you like it. And I'm just now starting to get into this YouTube video editing thing, so if you have any suggestions or constructive criticism, please let me know, and I will see you guys next time.